Welcome back, McFly subscribers. This is what we're going to be tying today. It's a soft hackle bugger tied with the Petejeans magic clips. These clips make tying this quick and easy once you get the hang of them. This is a variation of a fly that I've seen Petejeans tie before, and I will link to his video below in the description section. So the hooks I'm using today are these risen barbless nymph 9231s in size 6. You can use streamer hooks as well for these, like these 300s. But I find that the nymph hooks work better for my uses since the shank is a bit shorter. Place the hook securely in your vise. For weight, I'm going to be using this .015 size lead wire in a bodkin for easy application. Start the wire on the shank, and I'm making 10 wraps. Make this as heavy or light as you want. Push the lead wraps together and slightly towards the front of the hook shank. For thread, I'm using this Vivus 6/0 in brown, but use whatever color thread you want. Start the thread with a little space back from the hook eye, and then snip or snap off the thread. Then push the lead wraps up against the thread and wrap over the lead. Then form a dam on the other side to hold it in place. You can now wrap over it a couple times to really secure the lead. Now bring your thread down to the bend of the hook. For a tail, I'm using this grizzly mini marabou in sand color. You can also use a Chickabou patch if you have that in the color that you want to use. So take two similar sized feathers and place them back to back, aligning the tips of the feathers like so. You can see here why you don't want to use two feathers of different sizes. The tail will not come out even. Split the hook with the feathers so that one feather is one side and the other feather is on the other. Then adjust the length of the feather tail. Now tie in the tail so it's positioned up and down on the hook instead of flat. Make a few wraps up the hook shank until you're just shy of the lead bump. Then cut the feathers off and clean up the fuzzies with some wraps, and then end with your thread right in front of the tail. And I find wetting the tail helps with keeping everything neat and tidy. Okay, we now need to make the body, and for this I'm going to be using the Petejeans magic clip system. I've got the larger bench holder and clip here for this section, and we will be using Chickabou for this as well. The same sand color that we did for the tail, and also a darker brown for some depth of color with this whiting Chickabou patch in grizzly brown. We will also need some dubbing. In this case I'm using UV2 Diamond Bright in pink. Pull off quite a bit of the dubbing, separate it in your fingers a few times, also spread it out a bit. Then place it on top of the bench holder. Then take one light colored Chickabou feather and place the darker on top, and then another lighter. Make sure that the tips are all even and they are all similar sized feathers. Pinch the tip and then stroke the fibers down to make them stick out straight. Then cut off the portion that you will not be using. Place the feather down so there is a little dubbing sticking out of the front of the feather. Then push a piece of wire down into the clip, forcing the feathers and dubbing down with it. Now clip the dubbing feather with the clip and release from the base. Cut the stem off so you have an even cut. We will also need a second clip and bench holder, which does come with the kit. Take two feathers, one light and one dark, and put them down in the holder, ensuring that they are held with the fibers sticking up. Grasp again with another clip, ensuring that the fibers are all the way up to the end of the clip, and cut off the feather stems. Make a dubbing loop and bring your thread to the hook eye. Grab the loop with the dubbing twister and set aside. Whip finish with a 2-turn whip finish to keep the bobbin locked into place. Put the first clip into the dubbing loop with the all dubbing side closest to the fly. Spin up your dubbing loop. Now start winding the dubbing loop onto the hook shank until you use up the loop. It helps to stroke the fibers rearward with the wraps closer to the end. This should end shy of the hook eye. Clip off the waist, brush out the fly a bit, and start another dubbing loop. Put the next clip in with just the Chickabou fiber and repeat spinning up, then wrapping up the hook shank until you reach the hook eye. I find it helps to wet your fingers and force the fibers rearward with each wrap, especially on the end. Capture the loop and then trim off the waste. Now clean up the head by pulling the fibers over the hook eye rearward and wrap back up on top of them. It helps to wet the fibers a bit if you're having trouble with this step. Okay, now you can whip finish your fly. Okay, I kind of messed up with the whip finish, so let's do another. To secure the head and give a nice glossy finish, I love this Solarez Ultra Thin UV resin. It has a handy paintbrush built in, and all you do is wipe some around the whip finish and cure it with your UV light. So final step, and a very important one, is to brush out the fly once again. Brush forward and then rearward, ensuring to release any trapped fibers. This will make the fly look better and also have a nice buggy look. This fly is still wet, but this is what it will look like when it dries. Boy, does this have a lot of movement. Okay, well, the fly is now finished. You all need to check out my sponsor, Risen Fly. They made the hooks and tools that I use today. They sell more than just fly tying gear though. They also sell some really nice rods and reels. Pretty much anything you need to fly fish. Their gear is amazingly good, and yet it's still priced very affordably. Best off, they're offering all of you a discount. So type in McFly at checkout for 15% off of your first order with them. So go to www.risenfly.com and type in McFly at checkout for your first order with them. If you haven't already, please subscribe and hit that bell notification for future video updates. Also, it would help me and the channel out if you hit the like button. I will see you on the next video. Now you go catch some fish.